The haunted deck of the Queen Mary. Introduction. Some ships are haunted by the souls of their passengers, but the Queen Mary is different. Her haunted decks are not just a story, they're a warning. The Queen Mary, a luxury ocean liner turned hotel and museum, has long been known for its majestic Art Deco style and glamorous history. But beneath her sleek exterior and opulent past lies something far darker, something that has lingered for decades. The Queen Mary isn't just a ship, it's a vessel of mystery, tragedy, and unexplained occurrences. Many who have stepped aboard to admire the grandeur have left with more than just souvenirs. They've left with unsettling experiences, haunted by strange noises, eerie apparitions, and an overwhelming feeling that they are never truly alone. But what is it about this particular ship that gives it its haunted reputation? Some say it's the ghosts of those who perished aboard during her service in World War II. Others point to a tragic event that occurred on a specific deck, now known to be one of the most haunted areas of the ship, Deck B. The Queen Mary, after all, is not just a place of historical grandeur. It is a ship where the line between the living and the dead seems to blur. From unexplained sounds of children playing in empty hallways to the spectral figures seen on the decks, the ship's haunting history is as chilling as it is mysterious. But the question remains, are these ghostly occurrences simply the result of decades of stories and rumors? Or is there something far more sinister, a darker truth about the Queen Mary's haunted legacy, waiting to be discovered? In this episode, we'll dive deep into the mystery of the Queen Mary's haunted decks, focusing on the chilling reports, the historical events, and the strange occurrences that have made this ship one of the most talked about haunted places in the world. Prepare yourself to uncover a tale that has persisted for decades, with more questions than answers, and a legacy of the supernatural that lingers to this very day. Why does the Queen Mary seem so alive with ghosts? And what secrets are hidden beneath her decks? Join us as we venture into the heart of the mystery. Background story. The Queen Mary, a retired British ocean liner, stands as one of the most iconic and mysterious ships in history. Launched in 1936, she was the epitome of luxury and style, crossing the Atlantic from Southampton to New York. Her massive size, sleek design, and luxurious amenities made her a sought-after vessel. However, over time, the Queen Mary's story evolved from glamour to tragedy, becoming forever tied to death, unexplained events, and a dark history. When the Queen Mary entered service, she was hailed as a marvel of modern engineering, symbolizing British shipbuilding excellence. But in 1939, as World War II broke out, the British government requisitioned the ship and converted her into a troopship. Renamed the Grey Ghost, she was outfitted with camouflage, stripped of her luxurious fittings, and used to transport troops across the Atlantic. Despite the loss of luxury, her speed became invaluable to the Allied war effort, allowing her to outrun enemy submarines. However, her wartime role brought tragedy. In October 1942, she collided with the HMS Curacao, resulting in the deaths of 338 crew members. Despite the loss of life, the Queen Mary continued her mission without offering assistance, marking a tragic chapter that would haunt the ship's history. After the war ended in 1945, the Queen Mary returned to her original role as a passenger liner. However, by the 1960s, she had lost her glamour, overshadowed by faster and more modern ships. Eventually, she was sold to the city of Long Beach, California, in 1967, where she was permanently docked as a hotel, museum, and tourist attraction. It was here that her darker history began to resurface in an unexpected way. In Long Beach, strange reports began to emerge about the ship's eerie atmosphere. Workers, tourists, and hotel guests reported ghostly apparitions, unexplained noises, and an overwhelming sense of unease. Stories spread quickly, and the Queen Mary became notorious for the paranormal experiences associated with her. Most of these reports centered on Deck B, which became infamous for its haunting activity. Employees reported feeling watched, hearing strange footsteps, and even witnessing apparitions of former crew members. Some claimed to hear the sounds of children laughing or playing in empty rooms, and others reported seeing ghostly figures walking through walls. Among the most famous ghost stories is the haunting of room B340. Guests who stayed in the room reported objects moving on their own, the sensation of an unseen presence, and cold spots that appeared and disappeared mysteriously. These unsettling experiences contributed to the belief that room B340 was one of the most haunted spaces on the ship. In addition to the ghostly sightings, there were countless reports of strange sounds, such as footsteps echoing through the halls, doors slamming shut without cause, and the eerie hum of machinery. One well-known ghost story comes from the engine room, where workers and visitors have reported hearing phantom voices and footsteps. The most famous incident involves a worker who allegedly died in an accident there, and his restless spirit is believed to haunt the area. The Queen Mary's haunting is especially intriguing because of the number of independent witnesses who have experienced these phenomena. Over the years, paranormal investigators have taken a keen interest in the ship. John Sabal, a longtime paranormal researcher, believes the ship's haunting is tied to its violent history, noting that many of the most prominent ghosts are linked to tragic events, such as the collision with the HMS Curacao and the deaths of workers and passengers. As the Queen Mary's reputation as a haunted location grew, she became a popular feature on television shows like Ghost Hunters and Most Haunted, attracting paranormal enthusiasts, history buffs, and thrill seekers. Today, she stands as one of the most well-known haunted locations in the United States, drawing visitors from around the world. Despite the numerous reports, no definitive explanation has been found for the Queen Mary's haunting. Is it the lingering souls of those who died in tragic events aboard the ship, or is there something more sinister at play? The haunting of the Queen Mary remains an unsolved mystery, continuing to captivate those who seek to understand its dark and tragic past. In the eerie backdrop of mystery and ghostly encounters, the Queen Mary has become more than just a ship. She is a repository of the unknown, where the boundaries between life and death seem to blur. As the ship continues to attract visitors and paranormal investigators, the Queen Mary's haunting endures, raising questions that remain unanswered. The ship stands as both a piece of maritime history and a living ghost story that refuses to release its grip on the past. As long as the Queen Mary's decks remain open to the public, her tale of mystery, intrigue, and ghostly encounters will continue to unfold. The truth of her haunted history remains elusive, but whether the ship's visitors will ever uncover it remains to be seen. The incident, the Queen Mary's reputation as a haunted location, is deeply tied to the tragic and mysterious events that have occurred throughout its history. One significant factor that has contributed to the ship's eerie reputation is its transformation during World War II into a troop ship known as the Grey Ghost. This marked the beginning of the ship's dark history, setting the stage for the strange phenomena reported by visitors and staff in later years. In October 1942, the Queen Mary collided with the British warship HMS Curacao in the North Atlantic. The collision led to the deaths of 338 men, but the Queen Mary continued on its course, leaving the sinking ship behind. This tragic event, in which wartime strategy overshadowed human life, is often considered the starting point of the Queen Mary's haunting. Many believe that the spirits of those who died aboard the Curacao may still haunt the ship, with sightings of ghostly figures emerging from the ship's dark corners. After the Queen Mary was retired and turned into a hotel and museum in the late 1960s, strange occurrences began to surface. Deck B, especially room B340, became infamous for its paranormal activity. Staff and guests reported eerie happenings such as objects moving on their own, sudden temperature drops, unexplained noises, and a general feeling of unease. In the 1960s, after the Queen Mary arrived in Long Beach, California, the ship was converted into a hotel and museum. It didn't take long for strange incidents to be reported. Room B340 became notorious for unexplained phenomena, including shadowy figures and the distinct sensation of an unseen presence. Housekeeping staff were the first to report strange occurrences, such as hearing footsteps or finding bed covers mysteriously rearranged. When the room was opened to guests, the reports of paranormal activity intensified. Visitors reported feeling watched, hearing children's laughter, and experiencing cold sensations. One guest even felt a cold hand brush against their face. These eerie incidents helped solidify Room B340's reputation as one of the most haunted spaces on the Queen Mary. Other parts of the ship also became known for strange occurrences. The engine room, famous for its eerie atmosphere, became a focal point for ghost sightings. During a tour, an older woman collapsed from a sudden sense of dread, claiming to have seen a man in an old-fashioned uniform. Though no one else saw the apparition, this event added to the ship's reputation. In addition to the engine room, other areas like the Grand Salon and the first-class swimming pool also became hotspots for paranormal activity. Guests have reported hearing music playing from the Grand Salon despite no scheduled performances, and strange figures emerging from the pool's depths, despite the pool being dry for years. Paranormal investigators have taken an interest in the Queen Mary, using advanced equipment to capture evidence of the strange phenomena. Many believe the ship is haunted by the spirits of passengers and crew who perished during the ship's long history. These spirits are thought to be trapped between the realms of the living and the dead, drawn to the ship's tragic past. The HMS Curacao collision is often cited as the origin of the Queen Mary's haunting. Paranormal enthusiasts believe the souls of the soldiers who died during the war still haunt the ship. In addition to wartime casualties, the ship has seen other tragic deaths, including suicides, accidents, and natural deaths, all contributing to its haunted reputation. Deck B, and particularly Room B340, has become a focal point for those intrigued by the supernatural. Staff and guests have consistently reported strange phenomena in the area, including shadowy figures, unexplained whispers, and sudden temperature drops. These reports have led to the belief that the room is haunted by the spirits of those who died aboard the ship, particularly during its more tragic periods. The Queen Mary's haunted reputation only grew after the ship opened to the public as a hotel and museum. The strange occurrences in Deck B and Room B340 gained more attention, drawing paranormal investigators to the site. Investigations in the 1990s led to reports of electronic equipment malfunctioning, temperature fluctuations, and strange sounds like footsteps and knocking at the door, despite the room being empty. One particularly disturbing incident involved a group of paranormal researchers staying in Room B340. They reported feeling physically pushed onto the bed by an unseen force, and several claimed to have been touched by an invisible entity. The most bizarre event involved a guest who encountered a woman in period clothing in the doorway. The woman appeared to materialize out of thin air and whispered, "Get out," before the guest fled the room in panic. These strange events have only strengthened the belief that the Queen Mary is haunted. Visitors continue to report feelings of being watched, hearing voices, and encountering shadowy figures. Some even report hearing children's laughter echoing through the halls, despite the ship being nearly empty at the time. The haunting is believed to be tied to the ship's dark past, including wartime casualties and other tragic deaths. While some skeptics argue that the paranormal activity is simply a product of the ship's age and creaking structure, the sheer number of personal accounts from staff and guests makes it difficult to dismiss. The Queen Mary's haunting is a testament to its tragic history, and the supernatural occurrences aboard the ship continue to captivate those who seek to uncover the truth behind its ghostly reputation. The Queen Mary's legacy as a haunted vessel endures, with Deck B and Room B340 remaining at the center of the mystery. Whether the spirits that haunt the ship are those of wartime casualties, former passengers, or victims of accidents, the Queen Mary remains a place where the past refuses to let go. The ship's tragic history continues to echo through its haunted halls, forever altering the fate of those who encounter it. The investigation. The investigation into the haunting of the Queen Mary, specifically concerning Deck B and Room B340, has become one of the most famous paranormal research projects globally. After the ship was converted into a hotel and museum in 1967, growing reports of supernatural phenomena attracted paranormal investigators, enthusiasts, and skeptics. The investigation has evolved from early anecdotal evidence to more formal research using modern technology and methods. Initial reports and early investigations. Reports of paranormal activity aboard the Queen Mary began shortly after its retirement. Guests and staff began experiencing strange occurrences, especially in the lower decks. Notably, Room B340 became infamous for being sealed off due to unsettling experiences. In the early 1970s, ghost hunters and local enthusiasts started investigating with basic tools like tape recorders and flashlights. While these investigations produced little solid evidence, accounts of eerie experiences continued. John M. Zaffis, a renowned paranormal researcher, documented these hauntings in the 1970s. He interviewed staff, guests, and former crew members, confirming that the ship's reputation for supernatural activity was well-founded. The use of modern paranormal investigation tools. As paranormal research technology improved, investigators began using EMF meters, infrared thermometers, and digital voice recorders to document paranormal activity. EMF meters became especially important for studying room B340, with unusually high readings recorded in the absence of equipment that could explain them. Though skeptics attributed these fluctuations to the ship's old wiring, many investigators considered them evidence of supernatural presence. Digital voice recorders also captured EVP, electronic voice phenomena, where investigators recorded unexplained voices or whispers. Thermal imaging cameras documented cold spots, particularly in lower decks and around room B340. These sudden drops in temperature, with no apparent cause, added to the haunting reports. Notable investigations and events. Several high-profile investigations took place in the early 2000s. One of the most well-known was conducted by the Ghost Adventures team in 2007. During their investigation, they recorded significant temperature drops in room B340, experienced equipment malfunctions, and captured EVP recordings of unexplained voices. They also filmed a shadowy figure in the hallway, though no one was present at the time. Other groups, like TAPS, the Atlantic Paranormal Society, also investigated. TAPS documented several unexplainable occurrences, such as a door slamming shut on its own and footsteps echoing in empty hallways. Eyewitness accounts and staff involvement. Crew members and staff who worked aboard the Queen Mary have reported numerous personal experiences with supernatural events. These include hearing knocking noises on empty doors, feeling touched by unseen hands, and encountering shadowy figures. One staff member reported hearing a metallic crash in the galley but finding no explanation. Another crew member felt an oppressive weight on his chest and heard a whispering voice call his name. These unsettling experiences led some staff members to refuse to work in certain parts of the ship after hours. Official documentation and findings. As the investigations grew, the Queen Mary began keeping an official record of paranormal activity. These records frequently noted high EMF readings, temperature drops, and sightings of shadowy figures, especially in room B340. Despite the numerous investigations, the activity remains a point of debate. Skeptics attribute the occurrences to natural causes, while paranormal researchers continue to insist the ship is home to restless spirits, particularly from its wartime service. The ongoing investigation. The investigation remains ongoing, with the Queen Mary continuing to attract paranormal investigators and tourists. New technologies and refined methods are used to explore the ship's mysterious corners. As a result, the ship's legacy as a haunted vessel has only grown over the years, and speculation persists about whether the spirits aboard will ever find peace. The role of new technologies in investigating the Queen Mary. Modern technologies like thermocameras and infrared night vision have played a crucial role in documenting the haunting. These tools have captured sharp drops in temperature, particularly around room B340, which some believe are signs of spirits' presence. Full-spectrum cameras have also captured unexplained images, such as mist-like figures and shadowy silhouettes near key locations. One famous incident involved a full-spectrum camera capturing a shadowy figure near the engine, despite no one being present in that area. These images continue to fuel interest and debate in paranormal circles. Psychic investigations and intuitive experiences. Psychic investigations have also played a part. Intuitive mediums, such as Patty Martin, have been brought in to connect with spirits believed to be trapped on the ship. Martin, during an investigation in the early 2000s, reported sensing a female spirit near room B340 and the ship's boiler room. Mediums also described an overwhelming sense of sadness, as if the spirits couldn't move on due to the violent or untimely nature of their deaths. Other psychics identified a sailor who allegedly died in the engine room during World War II. While there's no official record of such a death, The psychic claimed the sailors' restless energy had never left the ship, tied to a sense of tragedy and isolation. Conversations with crew and staff. Crew and staff accounts continue to provide valuable insights into the haunting. One worker recalled hearing a heavy metal door slam shut in the engine room with no apparent cause. Another staff member near the first-class dining area often heard faint conversations and laughter, only to find silence upon investigation. The engine room remains one of the most haunted areas. Staff reported hearing loud banging noises from its depths, which were never explained. Some speculate that the intense energy from violent wartime incidents left a lasting imprint on the ship's infrastructure, contributing to its haunting. Psychic and technological correlation. As investigations progressed, comparisons were drawn between psychic impressions and technological data. In many cases, psychic descriptions of spiritual activity aligned with unusual readings from EMF meters or thermal cameras. For instance, when a psychic sensed a cold presence near room B340, the infrared cameras recorded a sharp temperature drop. However, discrepancies arose when psychics sensed a presence but the equipment showed no significant readings. This has led to debates over whether technology can capture all aspects of the haunting or whether there's an emotional component that remains beyond its reach. Investigations of the ship's recent past. Recent investigations have focused on the Queen Mary's wartime history as a potential source of the supernatural activity. During World War II, the ship served as a troop transport vessel, where many deaths occurred due to accidents, illnesses, and the stresses of war. Some believe that the soldiers who died during this time left behind residual energy, particularly in areas like the lower decks, engine room, and first-class cabins. Researchers theorize that the ship's physical environment amplifies the emotional energy left behind by those who suffered and died there. This has led some to believe the Queen Mary is a conduit for emotional energy, with spirits continuing to interact with the living in a way that transcends time. This theory has kept investigations ongoing as researchers attempt to understand how energy can leave imprints in places and how to communicate with trapped spirits. The Queen Mary's place in paranormal lore. Ultimately, the investigation into the Queen Mary's paranormal activity is ongoing. Theories and speculations. The Queen Mary has long intrigued paranormal investigators, skeptics, and curious tourists alike. Over the years, numerous theories have emerged to explain the ship's persistent hauntings. While speculative, these theories offer varying perspectives on the causes of the reported ghostly phenomena. Some theories are based on historical events, while others explore metaphysical and psychological explanations. As investigations continue, old theories are refined and new ones emerge. Below are some of the most prominent theories surrounding the Queen Mary's haunting. 1. The haunting of the lower decks and the war years. One widely accepted theory is that the Queen Mary's wartime service during World War II plays a key role in its hauntings. The ship was repurposed as a troop transport vessel, which led to many tragic events aboard, including deaths, illnesses, and accidents. Some theorists believe that the intense trauma of these experiences left an emotional or psychological imprint on the ship. The lower decks, engine room, and boiler room, where most casualties occurred, are thought to carry the weight of these past events. A notable tragedy occurred when the Queen Mary collided with the HMS Curacao, resulting in the deaths of many sailors. Although the ship continued its mission, some believe the souls of the lost sailors linger in the areas where the crash occurred. Additionally, the cramped lower decks, where soldiers suffered through illness and physical abuse, may have created a haunting environment. Summary: the Queen Mary's wartime history and the trauma that occurred below deck could have left lasting imprints of energy, explaining much of the ship's supernatural activity. 2. The residual haunting theory. Closely related to the imprint theory is the residual haunting theory. This concept suggests that the Queen Mary's paranormal events are not caused by active spirits but are the echoes or recordings of past traumatic events. According to this theory, the ship's environment has absorbed emotional, physical, or violent moments, replaying them like a loop without conscious interaction from the spirits involved. For example, investigators have reported hearing the clanking of chains in the engine and boiler rooms, even when no one is present. This sound is believed to be a residual imprint of the sailors working the machinery during wartime. Summary: the Queen Mary's paranormal activity could be the result of residual energy from past events, replaying like a tape recording without interaction from lingering spirits. 3. Intelligent hauntings and spirits of the departed. In contrast to the residual haunting theory, another theory posits that the Queen Mary is home to intelligent spirits, conscious entities that have not moved on and continue to interact with the living. Some investigators believe that these spirits are actively trying to communicate with the living or are drawn to the ship due to its historical significance. Among the locations known for intelligent hauntings is room B340. Investigators have reported hearing disembodied voices, footsteps, and knocking sounds from the empty room, as well as a feeling of being watched. One theory is that a man who died under mysterious circumstances in the room may be trying to communicate or relive the trauma of his death. Summary: intelligent hauntings suggest that the Queen Mary is inhabited by conscious spirits, either tied to the ship by attachment or unable to move on due to untimely deaths. 4. The ship as a conduit for spiritual energy. A more metaphysical theory suggests that the Queen Mary acts as a conduit for spiritual energy. This theory posits that the ship's size, history, and the tremendous emotional stress it has absorbed may make it a powerful amplifier of paranormal activity. Ships like the Queen Mary, which have witnessed intense violence and death, may develop a spiritual charge that attracts spirits. Some believe the ship's intricate design and labyrinthine corridors trap this energy, making it difficult for spirits to leave. Specific hotspots on the ship, such as the swimming pool, engine room, and room B340, are believed to hold concentrated emotional energy. Summary: the Queen Mary's unique design and tragic history may make it a conduit for spiritual energy, amplifying both active and residual hauntings. In conclusion, the Queen Mary's hauntings remain a subject of fascination, with theories ranging from psychological imprints to intelligent spirits or a spiritual conduit. The ship's traumatic past, combined with its eerie atmosphere, continues to captivate paranormal researchers and enthusiasts. As new technologies and methods emerge, the mystery of the Queen Mary's supernatural phenomena endures. Conclusion: the Queen Mary, once a grand ocean liner, is now renowned for its eerie reputation and paranormal theories. After its transformation into a hotel and museum, the ship has become a focal point for ghost hunters and enthusiasts. Its history, marked by tragedy, particularly during its wartime service, and reports of ghostly encounters, continues to fuel its mysterious legacy. Two main theories have emerged to explain the ship's hauntings: residual hauntings, where traumatic events leave an emotional imprint, and intelligent hauntings, where spirits interact with the living. These ideas are supported by countless reports of ghostly apparitions, unexplained voices, and strange noises. Despite extensive investigations, the true cause of these phenomena remains unclear, leading to ongoing speculation. One theory suggests that the hauntings are linked to psychic imprints left by those who suffered during the war, while another posits that malevolent or restless spirits are behind the activity. The conflicting theories have sparked debate, with some experts dismissing the supernatural angle entirely, attributing the experiences to psychological factors or environmental anomalies, like electromagnetic fields or infrasound. Despite numerous investigations, significant questions remain. Is the paranormal activity the result of the ship's tragic past, or is there something more to it? Could the reported encounters be due to the ship's acoustics, dark corridors, and atmospheric changes? While we've learned much about the Queen Mary's history, the mystery of its hauntings remains unresolved. What makes the Queen Mary especially intriguing is the way its story continues to evolve. New encounters, investigations, and theories continue to add layers to its haunting legacy. Modern technology allows for more detailed studies, leading to even more questions and possibilities. This ongoing mystery invites reflection on how some questions persist despite our best efforts to explain them. The unanswered questions surrounding the Queen Mary remind us that some mysteries may never be fully solved. The ship stands as a symbol of this enigma, a testament to the unanswered questions that continue to provoke curiosity. As the Queen Mary continues to captivate investigators and tourists alike, It serves as a reminder that some of the greatest stories may still be waiting to be told. The ship's haunted legacy will undoubtedly continue to draw those seeking answers, with the hope that one day, its secrets may finally be revealed. As paranormal investigator Zach Baggins once said, some of the greatest stories in the world are still waiting to be told, and the Queen Mary remains a testament to that enduring mystery.